Hey there, and welcome to the Beginner's Guide to Levitation. My name is Aaron Nace, and you can find me on Phlearn.com. I want to thank you guys for picking up this pro tutorial. I'm really proud of everything that we've done, and I know you're going to really enjoy this pro. So here's a quick intro into the pro and get you guys an idea what you're going to be learning throughout this tutorial. This tutorial is broken down into 4 sections. We have our intro and planning, we have cutting the subject out, we have color and light rays, and last we have dust and finishing steps. This is the intro and planning section. Basically, we're taking everything you're going to be learning throughout the tutorial and we're creating a plan for it in this section. Thanks again, and let's get into the tutorial. Hey there, and welcome to the Beginner's Guide to Levitation. This is the falling method, and we're in section 1. We're going to be going over the intro and planning for the entire image. So we're going to get everything together, get a good plan going on for what we're actually going to accomplish throughout this tutorial. We've got different sections, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into it. So let's go ahead and load our files. That's the first thing we need to do. We're in Photoshop already. Let's go to File. There we go. We're going to go down here to Scripts, and I'm going to go Load Files into Stack. This can allow me to bring multiple files into the same document. So we want to choose Use Files. We're going to go ahead and browse for the actual files themselves. So let's hit Browse. We're going to go to our folder here. So we've got our Phlearn Pro, Beginner's Guide to Levitation. We're going to go to Tutorial Images, Levitation 1, Falling Method. And now I'm going to hold down Shift and click on all of the images. So we have all 4 of these images now selected. Okay, let's go ahead and hit Open. There we go. And here we can see them. All 4 of them are in a list here. Now, because we actually photographed everything in the same place on a tripod, we do want to check this box down here that says Attempt to automatically align source images. So let's make sure that's checked, and that's going to make sure that any small variation that was that happened if someone bumped the tripod or whatever it was, it's going to go ahead and correct. Excuse me, I had a little frog in my throat. It's going to go ahead and attempt to automatically fix that. So let's go ahead and hit OK, and it's going to bring everything together for us. All right, how embarrassing. I didn't speak perfectly during my tutorial. All right, let's go ahead and full screen this, and we're going to just zoom out just a little bit so we can kind of go over each of the different images and kind of talk about what role each of the images is going to wind up playing. So we do have 4 images here, and as you can see, they're all pretty much aligned. So if I turn this one on or off, same with this one, the background should be in the exact same place because we did automatically align them. And you can see that's why we have a little bit of a shift here. That edge right around this photo, it just needed to move just a little bit. You can see this one actually stretches out all that way. It will stretch out those images just a little bit to fit everything. All right, so we've got 4 images. Our first image, this is going to wind up making up our background. So let's go ahead and group that with itself. I'm going to hit Command or Control G to group, and we're just going to double click on there, and I want to type in background because it's our background. Okay. Our subject is actually going to be 2 different images. We're going to be using this image as the basically as torso down, so everything from about this level down, and then this image we're going to be using from pretty much belly button up. So you can see they're not in the exact same place. So what we're going to wind up doing is we're going to have to cut both of these subjects out. This subject, the legs we're going to wind up cutting out because obviously we need to get rid of the crash pad or beanbag chair right here. So we're going to need to get rid of that, meaning we're going to have to cut her out from there. And then this image, we are going to have to cut her out from the background. Very well, we're going to be using the pen tool, and then we're going to shift it over to the right. So let's go ahead and shift click the 2 of those. I'm going to hit Control or Command G on those and just double click. All right, I'm going to type that as subject. There we go. And then this image, we're actually just going to use, we don't need much of this, but I want to show you guys a really cool trick. I want to make it look like she has more hair, like actually more hair on her head in the final image. So this is going to be just, that'll go into, we're going to use some of that to create more hair. So we'll go ahead and group this together with itself. Double click there and call this hair. You know what? And then we're going to move this hair group into the subject group. Keep it invisible for now. There we go. So we have our subject and we have our background. All right, so that's pretty much the idea. The Photoshop part of this is pretty much straightforward. Our end goal, let's just create a new layer here. Our end goal is, let's grab a good color here. All right, we want to get rid of this beanbag chair. We're going to get rid of this light as well. We're going to clean up the background. We need to cut this part of the subject out as well as cut this part of the subject out. We're going to be doing that in 2 separate layers. We're going to move that over a little bit to the right, and then we're going to be creating some really cool light rays that are actually going to come through the light there and just give the whole image some general toning and coloring. So before we get started, I'm going to hit C for the crop tool, and we're just going to crop this out right here on the left and the bottom. So whenever you're using the crop tool right here, just make sure you have this option at the top unchecked. It says delete cropped pixels. If you have that checked and you were to delete, crop too much by accident, it would get rid of this area in here permanently. So we want to make sure that's not checked. And that way, if you decide you need to crop out or include a little bit more information after your first crop, you can get that information back. All right, there we go. So we're just cropping that area out. Let's hit that checkbox right up there. All right, looks like we've got a little bit more on the right we need to bring in. Let's hit that checkbox there. Okay, so now we've included everything. We'll go ahead and get rid of our plan because we don't need it. And that's the end of section 1. And that's the end of our first section. You can see we're going to go step by step, teaching you everything you need to know to create the images, even from down to the planning stage all the way into completion. Join us in our next section where we're going to be cutting out our subject.